Did you ever realize that the greatest enemy isn't the world outside, but the walls we build inside ourselves? Ethan whispered, his voice trembling with a mixture of fear and fierce determination. The weight of his family's expectations crushed him, yet beneath that pressure, a spark of rebellion burned bright. He glanced toward the grand piano, the silent witness to a friendship that was forbidden yet undeniable. Every note they played together was a stolen moment, a secret act of defiance against a society built on division and cold rules. Tonight, everything would change. Either they would shatter the barriers that kept them apart or lose everything in the attempt. If you stay with me, you'll witness a journey where courage clashes with prejudice, where music becomes a weapon of hope, and where one decision will shatter a lifetime of silence. Prepare yourself, because the truth behind those walls will shock you, and the price of freedom is far greater than anyone ever imagined. Rachel ran a trembling hand through her tightly tied blonde bun, stealing yet another worried glance at her daughter Lily. The little girl sat perched on her bed, swinging her small legs nervously and biting her lower lip, a nervous habit Rachel knew all too well. "Mom, why can't I go with you?" Lily's blue eyes glistened with unshed tears, her voice small but steady. Rachel knelt beside her daughter, trying to summon strength she didn't quite feel. "Sweetheart, today is my first day working for the Harrington family. It's Ethan's birthday party, and I have to help in the kitchen. The babysitter canceled last minute, so you'll have to stay here very quietly." Lily's shoulders sagged. "But I want to be with you," Rachel's voice hardened. "I need you to promise me you'll stay here. This job is important. If I lose it, we won't have anything." Lily nodded slowly, but Rachel saw the stubborn spark in her eyes, a spark she recognized from her own childhood, one that whispered, "I'll find a way." "Promise me," Rachel urged. "I promise," Lily whispered. Rachel kissed her forehead, her heart breaking a little, and left the room. The click of the closing door echoed down the empty hall. 3 minutes later, the silence was shattered. Curiosity won. Lily slipped out of her room down the plush corridors of the Harrington estate. The grandeur swallowed her tiny frame walls hung with expensive art, soft rugs that muffled footsteps. From somewhere distant came laughter and music, the heartbeat of the party. Following the sound like a mouse drawn to cheese, Lily climbed to the top of the grand staircase and stopped, mouth agape. The main hall was a sea of elegance, sharply dressed men and women, clustered in whispered conversations, champagne flutes sparkling under crystal chandeliers. In their center stage stood a black grand piano gleaming like a sleeping giant. A young man, Ethan Harrington, stepped up. Blonde hair, sharp green eyes, a smile that seemed to draw people in effortlessly. He placed his fingers on the keys, and suddenly the room was filled with music. Lily ducked behind the banister, her heart pounding as Ethan's fingers danced across the keys. The melody was haunting, beautiful, yet tinged with sadness, unlike anything she'd ever heard before. It felt like a secret conversation between the piano and the player. When the last note faded, applause erupted. Ethan bowed graciously, basking in the admiration. Lily's resolve hardened. Taking a deep breath, she stepped forward, voice small but clear. "May I play?" The room froze. Conversations halted. Dozens of eyes locked on her tiny figure. "Oh, for heaven's sake," muttered a woman in a sapphire dress. "Where did this little brat come from? Who let this child in here?" hissed another voice. Laughter rippled through the crowd, cruel and dismissive. Mrs. Harrington approached her, smile tight and eyes cold. "This is no place for children to play." "I'm not here to play," Lily said defiantly. More laughter, now louder. A heavy-set man scoffed. "She can't even reach the pedals, and probably doesn't know the keys," added a woman, sneering. Ethan watched quietly, then knelt to Lily's level. "Do you really know how to play?" Lily nodded without hesitation. "Ethan, this is a serious event," his mother snapped. "You can't let just anyone come up here." He glanced at Lily. "What's your name, Lily?" "All right, Lily, let's see what you got." The murmurs swelled, some predicting embarrassment, others rolling their eyes. Ethan grabbed a cushion and placed it on the piano bench so Lily could reach. She sat down, ignoring the disdainful glances. "What will you play?" Ethan asked kindly. Without a word, Lily placed her small hands on the keys and began. The room fell silent. Her fingers moved with a delicate grace, each note slicing through the air like a sharp blade. It wasn't a complex piece, But there was something raw and unfiltered in her, playing a deep nostalgia that gripped the listeners' hearts. The man who had laughed moments before stared with mouth agape. Even Mrs. Harrington stopped shaking her head. Lily's eyes never left the keys. She was lost in the music as if no one else existed. When the last note echoed away, there was a long, breathless pause. Then applause, hesitant at first, then growing until it filled the entire hall. Ethan clapped a wide smile, lighting his face. "How did you learn to play like that?" he asked, genuinely amazed. Before Lily could answer, a sharp voice cut through the room. Rachel appeared at the doorway, face flushed with panic, eyes wide. She dashed through the crowd, ignoring the curious stares. "You should have stayed where I told you," she whispered harshly, pulling Lily away. No excuses. We're leaving. Now." Lily stumbled to keep up as Rachel gripped her hand tightly. Ethan stepped forward. She played beautifully. "There's no need to," Rachel interrupted, avoiding his gaze. "I'm sorry for the trouble. This won't happen again." She hurried Lily out, leaving behind the applause and a stunned Ethan. His mind echoed with the music Lily had played, so pure, so true, stirring feelings he'd never known. He turned over in his ornate bed, staring at the decorated ceiling. How could a 5-year-old hold such emotion? How had she learned in the quiet dawn? He resolved to find out. The next morning, Ethan sought Rachel early, finding her in the garden hanging laundry. She was tense, hands trembling as she clipped sheets. "Miss Rachel," Ethan began softly, "I want to talk about Lily." She turned, eyes filled with worry and exhaustion. "I want to understand how she plays like that." Rachel's composure cracked. Tears welled as she spoke of Lily's late father, Daniel, a musician who had passed away suddenly. He had taught Lily not through lessons, but through love music as a conversation of feeling. Since his death, Rachel said Lily hadn't touched a piano until last night. Ethan absorbed this understanding why Lily's music had been so heartbreaking, yet alive. He confessed he had studied piano from an early age with the best teachers, but never felt music like that. Rachel was hesitant when Ethan proposed they play together, fearing repercussions. But Ethan insisted, promising to protect them. After a long pause, Rachel agreed just once. They met in a smaller private music room. Lily, now dressed in worn jeans and a bright yellow butterfly shirt, approached the piano like it was a dear friend. "Are you nervous?" Ethan asked. "Not with the piano. It's my friend." They played together, Lily leading, Ethan accompanying. A magical exchange unfolded their music, weaving a silent conversation of understanding and hope. Their friendship was a secret oasis in a world rigid with rules. For the first time, Ethan felt music's true power, a bond beyond notes and applause. As they played, Ethan's mother watched from afar, eyes hardening with anger at what she saw. Two worlds mingling where they shouldn't. Ethan and Lily were lost in music, unaware the walls of privilege and prejudice were closing in. "I know this is just the beginning, and I appreciate your patience as the story unfolds." What would you do if you were in Ethan's shoes, torn between family expectations and a friendship that challenges everything? If you're touched by Lily and Ethan's story so far, please like and share this video to support more stories like theirs. The delicate harmony that had blossomed between Ethan and Lily was about to be tested in the most brutal way. The day after the unforgettable birthday party, a shadow fell over the Harrington estate. The news of Lily's bold appearance on the grand piano had spread quickly through the gilded halls and marble staircases. But what began as whispered admiration soon turned into whispered disapproval. Mrs. Harrington, Ethan's mother, was a woman of iron will and impeccable social standing. To her, tradition and appearances were everything, and the idea of her son forming a bond with the daughter of a housekeeper was inconceivable. Summoned abruptly to the imposing Harrington office, Rachel felt her heart pounding as she stepped into the cold, richly decorated room. The polished mahogany desk, the heavy velvet curtains, and the glaring eyes of Mrs. Harrington all combined to create an atmosphere more like a courtroom than a home. "How long have you been working here, Miss Miller, Mrs.?" Harrington asked sharply, using Rachel's formal name to remind her of the strict social hierarchy. 3 weeks, ma'am," Rachel answered, forcing her voice to remain steady. "And in these 3 weeks," Mrs. Harrington continued, "you have allowed your daughter to wander freely in my home, to perform with my son, and to disrupt the natural order that keeps this household running smoothly." Rachel swallowed her throat dry. It wasn't my choice. Ethan invited Lily. Mrs. Harrington's eyes narrowed dangerously. So the fault lies with my son. How convenient. But you must understand, Ms. Miller, this is not just about piano lessons. This is about preserving the boundaries that separate us. Her words hit Rachel like a blow. She had known this day might come, but nothing could prepare her for the sting of being told her daughter did not belong. You and your daughter have your place in this household, Mrs. Harrington, said her voice icy. The kitchen, the back corridors, the servants' quarters. Lily is not and will never be part of the Harrington world. Rachel's lips trembled, but she said nothing. She could feel tears pressing behind her eyes, but she would not let them fall here, not in front of the woman who held her fate. That evening, as Rachel returned home, Lily's hopeful face broke her heart. Will I see Ethan tomorrow? Will we play the piano again? Lily asked, clutching her worn yellow shirt. Rachel shook her head slowly. No, sweetheart. Sometimes adults make rules that aren't fair, but we have to follow them. Lily's small face crumpled the weight of injustice, already pressing down on her young shoulders. Days passed in silence. Ethan's visit stopped. The music room, once alive with shared melodies and laughter, became a quiet tomb of memories. Ethan felt the loss deeply. The walls of the Harrington estate seemed to close in on him. His mother's cold disapproval was a constant presence, a reminder of the world he was born into, a world that demanded obedience over friendship. One night, unable to bear the distance, Ethan found himself walking through the dimly lit corridors until he reached the kitchen where Rachel was quietly preparing a meal. Rachel, he said softly. She looked up, surprise and worry mingling in her eyes. I want to help, Ethan, said his voice resolute. I won't let them tear this apart. Rachel hesitated. Ethan, they have power. This isn't just about you or me or Lily. It's a whole system built on keeping people like us apart. Ethan shook his head fiercely. I don't care about their system. Lily is my friend, and I'm going to fight for her. His words were a spark in the dark. Rachel felt a flicker of hope, but also the heavy weight of what defiance could bring. Soon after, the unthinkable happened. Rachel was dismissed. No warnings. No explanations, just the cold finality of being told she was no longer needed. Lily's world crumbled. Without Rachel to watch over her at the estate, Lily was left to navigate her dreams alone. But her spirit was unbroken. The music inside her, the memories of piano keys and laughter, refused to fade. Ethan, enraged and desperate, refused to accept defeat. He began a quiet campaign reaching out to allies within his family, seeking ways to protect Lily and Rachel. Every conversation with his mother became a battle of wills. You're risking everything, Mrs. Harrington warned coldly. Some things are worth the risk, Ethan replied, his voice steady, despite the fear knotting his stomach. His days were spent strategizing, his nights practicing piano in the dark, replaying melodies Lily had taught him, fueling his resolve. Rachel, meanwhile, was a fortress of quiet courage. Though thrown into uncertainty, she refused to give up on her daughter's future. She found strength in Ethan's unwavering support, in Lily's unyielding hope. Together they weathered the storm of prejudice, but the greatest challenge was yet to come. One rainy evening, Ethan sat alone at the grand piano, fingers brushing keys in a melancholic dance. He closed his eyes, hearing Lily's laughter, feeling her presence beside him. Rising suddenly, determination flared in his eyes. He would not be silenced. He would not let a friendship born of music be crushed by fear and old rules. He began to gather supporters, family members who believed in change, friends who understood the power of love over tradition. Slowly, a quiet revolution took shape. Ethan was no longer just the heir of Harrington. He was a young man determined to rewrite the rules, and Lily was the melody that guided him. Thank you so much for sticking with us through this part of the story. If you were in Ethan's shoes, standing at the crossroads of family loyalty and true friendship, what choice would you make? Please share your thoughts below. And if this story has moved you, don't forget to like and share. Your support means everything. The air was thick with anticipation as the grand New Year's Eve gala filled the Harrington estate with shimmering light and music. The mansion's ornate walls, usually cold and forbidding, seemed to pulse with an unspoken promise tonight. This was no ordinary celebration. It was a moment that would change lives forever. Ethan stood near the grand piano, his fingers lightly resting on the polished ebony keys. Tonight he was not just the heir of an esteemed family. He was a young man who had tasted the power of courage and friendship and was ready to stand for what he believed in. The guests trickled in their elegant gowns and tailored suits, filling the expansive hall. Conversations hushed as Rachel entered her presence, commanding quiet respect. Beside her walked Lily, radiant in a simple yet stunning pale blue dress. Her golden hair was swept back, revealing the bright eyes that had once shone with uncertainty, but now gleamed with newfound confidence. Murmurs spread quickly, the housekeeper's daughter walking alongside the Harrington family's own son, a sight that would have been unthinkable months ago. Some guests exchanged skeptical glances, others whispered behind fans or champagne glasses. But all eyes were fixed on the pair as they moved toward the piano. Ethan stepped forward, clearing his throat, the room falling into a respectful silence. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, voice steady, "thank you all for joining us this evening. Tonight I want to share something deeply personal, something that has transformed my life and the lives of two very special people beside me." He gestured to Rachel and Lily, who shared a look filled with warmth and courage. "This is Lily." Ethan continued, "a remarkable young musician and a dear friend. Together we have discovered that music is more than just notes on a page. It is a language of the soul, a bridge that connects us beyond social walls." Lily stepped up, sitting at the piano bench, the polished wood cool beneath her fingertips. Her fingers hovered for a brief moment before descending with graceful assurance. The first notes floated through the air, gentle, haunting, filled with all the pain, hope, and love that had woven their lives together. Ethan joined her, his hands weaving harmonies that wrapped around her melody like a protective embrace. Their music spoke of friendship born in unlikely places of battles, fought silently against prejudice and fear. It spoke of a child's pure heart refusing to be confined, and a young man's determination to break free from the chains of expectation. The room fell into a trance. The elite audience, accustomed to grand spectacles and polished performances, found themselves touched in ways they had long forgotten. When the final note lingered and faded, a profound silence followed, a moment heavy with emotion and meaning. Then the applause erupted, hesitant at first, then swelling into a wave of genuine admiration and respect. Tears glistened in the eyes of many. Some guests wiped away discreet tears, others stood in ovation. Mrs. Harrington watched quietly from the side, her usual cold composure softened by the undeniable power of what she had witnessed. For the first time, she saw Lily not as a servant's daughter, but as a gifted young artist whose music could move even the most hardened hearts. She saw Ethan not just as the family's heir, but as a son who dared to stand for justice and friendship. The atmosphere shifted, the invisible barriers beginning to crumble. After the performance, guests approached Rachel and Lily with warm smiles and heartfelt congratulations. Some apologized quietly for their earlier skepticism. Others asked questions about Lily's journey and talent. A few even offered to help with her musical education, eager to be part of this new chapter. The news spread quickly beyond the estate, stirring conversations about change, equality, and the true meaning of friendship. In the days that followed, life at the Harrington estate transformed. Rachel was reinstated, her role now valued beyond mere household duty. Lily's piano lessons were funded by generous donors who saw in her a rare and precious talent. And Ethan found himself embraced not only by friends, but by family members who had come to admire his courage. Together, they dismantled the invisible walls that had once divided them, proving that compassion and determination could forge a better future. One sunny afternoon, Rachel, Ethan, and Lily stood on the estate's terrace, overlooking the city skyline, stretching beneath a clear blue sky. Ethan smiled, turning to Lily. "You taught me more about music and life than anyone else ever has." Lily beamed back. "And you showed me what it means to stand up for what's right." Rachel's eyes sparkled with tears of joy. "This is just the beginning," she said softly. "The world may be slow to change, but love and hope will always find a way." As they stood together, three souls from different worlds, united by music and friendship, the future seemed brighter than ever. Now, I want to hear from you. What part of this story moved you the most and why? If you could give advice to Ethan or Lily, what would it be? Please share your thoughts below. How did this story resonate with you? If you loved it, comment note 3. If you think it needs improvement, comment number 1. If it felt just okay, comment number 2. Also, let me know which country you're watching from. Don't forget to like, heart, and share this video. Your support helps bring more stories like this to life. Thank you for being part of this journey.